We're one of the companies that are in this new sphere called science tech. So you may have heard of fintech or insurance tech. Labstep is a different type of company. We're in this space that's emerging now with a handful of other companies that builds tools for scientists. You may have heard of some companies that provide tools for software developers. This is like the equivalent type of area, but for science. So we now see an emerging group of companies addressing the scientific market. Just to kind of briefly explain where I come from, so I originally was a PhD, so you may be familiar with this triangle. This is how my life looked for a few years. You can pick only two sides of this triangle: social life, good grades, and not sleeping enough or sleeping enough. I decided to ditch good grades. Yep. Yeah, it's adapted from a college slide, but like, you know, the scientific citation, you know, something like that. You know, fill the blank with whatever you need. And so I used to be a scientist myself, or at least work in a lab. I started with doing a biochemistry at New College, and then I worked in the US for 2 years, which you can inevitably judge from my accent. And I used to actually have the same boss as Jeff Bezos, which is funny. We were obviously separated by a few years, but I used to work for the same man as Jeff Bezos did in the past. Then I returned to Europe. I did my DPhil in biochemistry at Merton College, Oxford. Spent some time in Washington, D.C. As part of my PhD. And after the DPhil, I decided to switch gears, leave academia, and start Labstep. The journey, just to set it out, it's been by far one of the biggest roller coaster rides of my life. So to date, we have raised 1.57 million pounds in seed funding. The seed round was led by Seed Camp, which is the leading European seed fund. And we have recently closed the largest round so far, 1 million pounds that we're putting into development of this product for scientists. We've been honored to receive Forbes 30 Under 30 award, and on kind of recent developments, we've been accepted to the Google residency program. So this is like a quick update on, you know, the good things that have happened in the last month, but, you know, or two. But what I still haven't told you is, what is it that we do? So the story of Labstep starts with really two guys in a garage, myself and Jake, my co-founder, who were frustrated with the way that scientific record keeping is done at present. We were both frustrated with the paper-based note-taking techniques, right? Like, you just scribble something down on a piece of paper, next person comes to the lab, people don't share the pieces of paper get lost, it's a nightmare. But at the same time, we were not super happy with the existing electronic solutions on the market, right? So like, we all know these tools. It actually takes much more time to work with like a digital version of a notebook than it does to work with a paper one. So that's why like nobody's really that excited about moving into digital. So with these two things in mind, we really decided to like take a fundamentally different approach to how this product is built and kind of go hand in hand with scientific community. This was very natural for us because that's where both of us come from. We used to both be scientists. We started off with a proof of concept at Oxford University. So we took a teaching lab, the simplest possible setting you can have of a research work where the problem that you're trying to solve has actually been resolved already and you're doing this for practice. And we provided a software tool for students to allow them to keep track of their experiments and like teaching practicals. Off the back of that, we were able to raise our 500K investment. So it's that part I will just abbreviate. It is a mix-up of Silicon Valley experience and a Shark Tank. So like, you'll bump into all sorts of interesting people from the VC scene, and they are sharks. Some of them are sharks. So it's been like a pretty tough ride initially before we learned our ropes and learned how to deal with the expectations on their side. But with that investment in the bank, we were able to assemble a fairly unique team to help us address this problem. So our team is composed 50%, you know, academics, scientists, people who have real insight into what life in the lab looks like. And the other 50% is development talent, so people with like extraordinary engineering ability who can help us build this tool for scientists and solve some of the technical challenges that come along. Without any marketing, we were noticing that through these informal networks of collaborations that you guys know as scientists exist, the tool has spread to 600 universities. That was just a shock to us. We were not at all expecting so much, retention. But we were able to have users from like 600 leading universities, some of which are listed here: MIT, Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge in the UK. Those are just some prominent examples. But what's different for us is taking inspiration and taking this really different approach to building this tool for scientists. One of our mentors, the founders of Mendeley, I'm pretty sure some of you are familiar with the story of the company Mendeley. It's by far one of the most successful science tech startups. Mendeley is a reference manager. It's a tool for scientists to keep track of the kind of the papers they read, and then it has like the social media component built on top of it. You can build a group of your lab mates, manage journal club together, things like this. And what was unique about the story of Mendeley is that they had a very strong scientific community working with them to improve the product. So that ensures that you're actually building something that people want. You're building a tool that the scientific community is asking you to do. You're not just like going off in a random direction. So what we've built so far is a free product available to the scientific community, and we intend to keep it free. So to academics, it will remain free. We have monetization ideas that involve selling the software license to commercial entities. And what's quite special about what we do is that we, working hand in hand with scientists, we are trying to build this project, to build this product to fit their needs. And so some of the ideas that we focused on was like very heavy user feedback. One of the things that this resulted in is like this instrumental integration that is now becoming a really sticking point for us. So we have a number of people who now use the tool to interface with their microscopes and other instruments in the lab to send data over. There are other components of the tool that I haven't mentioned, and I kept it intentionally high level and not very specific. But that's like one of the areas that we've really found that scientists want to have a way of keeping track of how these instruments are used, who's using them, what sort of settings they're putting in. And that's just very hard to come by using conventional paper-based way, but if you have a tool that you can kind of send data to, like Labstep, it suddenly becomes possible to keep track of all these things. So, if you're interested, it's a call to action slide. If you're interested, you want to find out more, please find me afterwards. I've kept it fairly high level just to talk about broad strokes of how we're building the tool. You can reach us out. We're also on Reddit, so part of the community-driven thing is that, we have this subreddit where like a lot of the scientists congregate. We have this wonderful event, Surviving Science, if you're in London. The ticket's sold out, but like there will be another one. So Surviving Science is like a platform for scientists. For now in London, we're probably going to spread it to other cities to tell your experience of your PhD, some challenges that you faced. It's a kind of a hack and tell format. So like, what sort of problems you bumped into, how did you fix it? It really brings the scientists together and allows us to stay in touch with the community. And I just want to stress that we are having a lot of fun with being on the Startup Mountain. It's a really interesting area to go into. This is just some of the Photoshop stories that we're doing with our team members. So this is, you may recall the game The Witcher with one of our team members. This is the bug slayer Photoshop because he found a really nasty bug at one point. This was during the World Cup, and this is Damon, our UX designer, who's kind of photoshopped here, and he was really believing that it's going to be coming home for the Team England. That didn't happen. So it's an awesome team to be a part of, and I'm really honored to be so close with the scientific community building this tool to help us address reproducibility problems in science and like note taking in science. So yeah, thank you all for your attention. That is all. Thanks.